So I can't yell football because our CEO broke his back.
I'm alright.
I can't startle him. He had surgery. He's got that cut. He looks like Jaws took a bite out of him. It's kind of gross.
I'll be alright.
It's alright. He's a gamer though, guys. Alright, football time. Nuco does your Fantasy Smack Talk talking running back strategy. So obviously it doesn't change that much year to year, but you know, we have a few tweaks. But first, CEO, talk to us about daily fantasy football.
Talking about DraftKings, we're trying to give away some t-shirts. If you sign up, use the promo code FST. Or click on the card, follow the instructions or the link in the description. Sign up, deposit at least $5 or more. Do that before the start of the NFL season. We'll send you a shirt, and DraftKings will give you a free entry into a real cash game. You can't go wrong with that.
So overall running back draft strategy this year, of course you have to know your league settings because that changes some things, but just a very general thing, we like to kind of say 2 out of our first 4 picks we would like to be running backs. Now whether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that is, we still like taking the best player, best value in the early picks. Just if you're in a tie, you're gonna lead towards a running back 2 out of the first 4, and you can never have too many running backs on your roster. If you think you have too many, you're wrong. You can keep drafting them. If they have any kind of value, you can keep drafting them.
As long as you can still fill a starting lineup.
Yes, that is key. That is key.
So it is possible to have too many, but it's tough. That'd be a good feat if you could do that. Another thing you need to consider, and this is one thing that does change from year to year, is where are the big drop-offs? You know, you need to know kind of, how many teams are in the league, how many chances are you going to get at running backs in the early rounds, and where are those big drop-offs? This year, the biggest ones that we see is right around Jeremy Hill when it falls off to like the Frank Gores of the world, and that happens around the 18th pick after about the 10th running back.
You're not nearly as excited about Gore as you are if you get help.
Exactly.
Obviously.
I mean, we like Gore's upside,
of course.
But there is a big drop off for us right there, right around the 18th pick. And then once you get into the Gore territory, those guys are pretty similar all the way until about Jonathan Stewart area. Once you get to about Jonathan Stewart, then you're looking at like a Todd Gurley type player. That happens at about the 50th pick with about the 20th running back. So you need to know that in the draft when you're looking at it in terms of to go how many teams are in your league and just kind of mapping out, okay, a loose strategy going in with where these running backs might be.
Right, so what you're going to do is look at and a big thing to do is look at the pre-rankings, right? People are slaves to those draft boards, so rarely will they scroll down quite a bit to get whatever running back they really want. So take a look at those draft rankings, the pre-rankings, and also note that those pre-rankings are normally for standard leagues, not for PPR leagues, and that's a big, big difference.
It is a big, big difference because that's one thing that a lot of people don't put enough stock into. And one thing that has kind of evolved is a lot of leagues have gone to PPR leagues, and the whole strategy with waiting on a quarterback, that has more value in a non-PPR league. Because here's the thing, when you look at non-PPR leagues, last year there was about 12 running backs that had 175 points or more. But once you look at it in a full PPR league, there was about 20. So that really opens up the door later in the rounds, because a lot of teams do have 2 running backs that have fantasy value in
and
PPR
so what you
leagues.
do, know your depth charts, right? Take a look, go to sites that know depth charts for 2 reasons. A, if there's a surprise starter coming in, that could change daily, but also sometimes depth charts are talking about third down backs, and those are the pass catching backs. And Dustin, give us a few of these PPR backs that we really like.
Well guys, these guys wouldn't necessarily be considered as much in the standard league, but again, in a PPR league, these guys can easily finish in the top 20, be solid flex plays or even RB2s in some cases, but CJ Spiller, Gio Bernard, Danny Woodhead, Vereen, Sproles, Duke Johnson we think will fill that role for Cleveland this year, Halou, Joyke Bell, all these guys. 2 years ago, I like to always point this out, Danny Woodhead was the top 15 running back in PPR leagues, but he was drafted
barely
in like the 12th
wasn't
round
even
probably.
drafted in some leagues.
Yeah, I mean, but people don't realize how much value that can be if a guy's going to catch 60 or 70
And you have to know
passes.
that, right? If your league setting's a PPR, you have to write down these guys' names, put them in your queue, whatever it is, make sure you know that, because if you know you can get these guys a little bit later, then maybe you do load up on wide receivers early. Maybe you're not doing 2 out of the first 4 picks being running backs. In a PPR setting, I'm okay not doing that if you know that you can get, the Spiller Lade and the Woodheads of the world and the Joyke Bells and everyone that Dustin mentioned after he has that. So.
And people forget about those people, so you can get them later once they've got their core of running backs and they're looking more towards filling the other positions on their team. Those guys just sit there and sit there and sit there. You can get them in the 9th, 10th round sometimes, and they could end up being top 20 running backs. So Just something to think about.
So that's it for draft running back strategy. We're going to do some other ones, so check those out as well. Go onto our website, see the top 150 cheat sheet, and please hit the subscribe button.
Hit it right here. Hit right here. Hit subscribe. There'll be a graphic there.
It's right there, I guess.
There will be.
Okay.
I will put it there.
I hope it's a good graphic. Will it be good?
It'll be good.
Don't choke. Tell me if it's good. Tell me if you choked.
You'll like the graphic.